Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. On this video we're going to talk a little bit about three things. Number one is how you can get some extra reading practice if you're here in Australia. Number two, if you're not in Australia, how can you get some reading practice? And number three, we're going to talk about some books that you can start reading today, well technically after you watch this video. You can use this to get started in your language learning, or you could use it to get ready for exams like IELTS, TOEFL, PTE, TOEIC, and the list goes on and on. So let's get started. Right, so the first thing would be going to your local library, because in the local library you can borrow books for free. How cool is that? I mean, it cannot get better than free. And if you're an international student, it could be, good to save some money on some of these books. Now, if you've got spare cash, you could go to any bookstore, any of the popular ones like DMOX, Readings, or you could even just go into your local bookshop. That's also a good way to support the community, and maybe you can find a really good book at a really nice price. You could also go to op shops. Op shops are a great way to find cheap books, and cheap doesn't have to be bad. Actually, I got a book here. Where is it? So it's this one here, The 4-Hour Body by Tim Ferriss, and that book, it cost me $30 and I found it on an op shop for $3. So it was 10 times less. So it hurts a bit to say this. So if you're close to an op shop or Salvos, it's worth checking, because you never know, you may have a really good deal. And the last thing you can do is walk around your neighborhood. Maybe you will find some of those tiny bookshelves around houses, and what you basically do is you can just borrow any book, and the best practice would be to borrow a book and then to leave one there so that it keeps the initiative going. Who knows, maybe you can find a good classic, or maybe you can just find a random book out there, so you never know. Again, great thing to do. Now, if you went back to your home country or you are watching overseas, one good way to get extra reading practice right now will be to use an e-reader. So for example, Kindle or Kobo are some of the most popular ones, or basically any ebook for this matter, yeah? By the way, libraries also give ebooks for free. So with ebooks, I mean, you can download them instantly. They are usually cheaper than the printed version, than paper books basically. And the other good thing about ebooks is that you can carry many at the same time. So again, if you don't... And now let's talk about the last bit of the video, and this is a few books that you could read. This is not in a particular order, but just great books to push you a little bit, get a bit of extra practice. And well, the first one could be Who Moved My Cheese? This is a great book because it's a short story. It's like 35 pages. So you could read this maybe in a few hours, or you could read like 5 pages a day for a week, and boom, you finish the book. It is quite motivating because it's a story that is not very complicated, it's easy to follow, and again, gets you started in that type of book where you need to keep up with a story. The next book that I would recommend when it comes to stories would be Animal Farm. This is a bit of a more serious book. It's got a bit of a meaning behind it, but it's presented in a very friendly way. It's got more characters, so it's gonna be a bit more challenging to keep up with the story, and it is just a great read. Highly, highly recommended. Then another one again would be 1984, and this is another great book that again has got more of a plot, more things are happening, more advanced vocabulary, and it's just great practice because you have to keep up with the story. And in general, it's a very, very interesting book. These two books that I just said before, Animal Farm and 1984, are both from George Orwell. I have read other of his books and he's an amazing writer, so I would highly recommend you check out George Orwell. Other books, let's say on a bit of a different topic, we've got Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. This is a great business/motivation classic, great book. It's got some really interesting ideas, and it's just, again, it's a good book, it's a good read. It's not very deep. Well, it is deep, but it's presented in a simple way. So again, great book to read, and it can give you some clarity as well. On a similar note, we have Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life. I highly recommend this book because it talks about different things that you can do to improve your life. It's, I would say, I guess it's in the self-help kind of style of book, but again, it's just so practical, and sometimes you've got really deep, complicated ideas presented in a simple way, so it makes this book very interesting. Another thing is his writing style and vocabulary make it more challenging and a great way to get extra practice. On a similar note, if you get this one, I would recommend his second book. I haven't finished this one, I'm somewhere in the middle. Again, also a great read, and if you enjoy his content, or let's say his first book, this would be an amazing read. And again, it's not that easy as the other books we said before, so you have to like sit down, focus a bit more, so that makes it an amazing read. Next, we've got something more like a novel, something that it would fall in the category of classics. I would highly recommend you read Crime and Punishment. This is from Dostoevsky, and it is a thick book, as you can see. I think this is about 600 pages. I mean, very interesting story, lots of detail, complicated vocabulary, and it's just all mixed up in a really good writing style. So this book would really challenge you, especially if you haven't had much reading practice. So I would recommend read a few books before you pick this one, so that you can get the most out of this one. And take your time, don't feel like you have to rush through, just try to get a little bit every day. This is a great way to approach reading. And as I just mentioned, another category could be just classics. And here the list goes on and on and on. So I would just say Google classical books and you're gonna get a good idea of what you can get. Looking at a book from a movie is a great way to get extra practice, so it could be anything really. Please let me know in the comments if you have read any of these books that we talked about today, and if you have tried other things to get reading practice, please let us know in the comments. Maybe other people can benefit from it. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And again, I'll see you in the next video talking a little bit more about the exams, writing practice, language learning, and all these things. Take care, and once again, thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.